Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today I'm going to explain a horror comedy movie called American Carnage. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie opens up with a video clip showing how the United States has always been a welcoming place for people from all over the world. Most of the immigrants have gone on to become a major part of the US workforce. Some have even become cultural icons and superstars. But these people are also needed as scapegoats when things start going downhill. One such second-generation immigrant is Juan Pablo Valdez, a young Mexican-American boy who goes with his shortened name, JP. He works as a cook in a fast food chain named Liberty Burgers, and is quite a happy-go-lucky person. One night, JP and his family are hosting a party at their house for their close friends. His sister Lily has just been accepted to Columbia University and will soon travel to New York for further studies. Everyone present is enjoying the celebrations and are extremely proud of her achievement. Mom is busy engaging in cheerful conversations, while Lily is entertaining guests by making fortune origami. Suddenly, several armed officers from the U.S. Immigration's department barge into the house. Nobody knows what's happening, but they restrain the entire family. The following day, a new draconian law is implemented under the leadership of the conservative governor, Finn Harper. He has vetoed a no-tolerance policy against every single illegal immigrant and their children, even those who are born and raised in America. Under this new order, all the suspects are to be imprisoned without trial, while their children will be deported. Until the next action is taken, they will be separated into groups and kept in camps. Thus, JP is separated from his family and sent to live in an open space with a bunch of strangers. After 2 days in the camp, he finally sees Lily just outside the camp. He tries to call her, but she is quickly taken away on a bus. On the fourth day, JP and a select few are taken to an immigration officer. She suggests several ways that they can get their family back, but most of them include spending a lot of money or hiring a lawyer. The easiest way out would be to take part in a community service program. The people who apply will be taken to an old age home where they will have to take care of the elderly retirees. If they complete the terms of service, their families will be let free and they can go back to their normal lives. During the selection process, JP makes friends with a bunch of people. First is a black Hispanic guy named Big Mac. He is a womanizer and doesn't really care about the program. There is also a young girl named Camila, who is an activist associated with the Democratic Party. Then there is a paranoid guy named Chris, who thinks they will be drugged and killed in the program. And lastly, they are joined by a mysterious Argentinian girl named Micah. Soon afterwards, the group is sent to the old age home where they meet the founder, Eric Dane. He gives them a brief speech about this program being a learning experience for many children. They are then handed over to the security officers, Cynthia and James. During their stay at the establishment, these officers will look after all their needs. They will decide who gets to leave first and who doesn't. The participants are also made to wear a tracker on their feet that will locate them at all times. The whole process is very suspicious, but the newbies do not think much of it. After that, they are given a tour of the whole establishment. While walking through the garden, JP locks eyes with an older woman named Greta. She has a strange look on her face and stares at him without breaking eye contact. Then they are brought to the lounge area and left to entertain the elderly guests. The youngsters can talk to them, read books to them, play chess, and so on. Their main aim is to make sure the guests do not wander away, as all of them have dementia. During the lunch break, JP and his group sit together to eat. The taste of the meatloaf is disgusting, which breaks their spirit even more since they have to eat it every day from now on. Chris refuses to eat or drink anything, claiming that the government has mixed something in their food. He only uses his inhaler throughout the meal, while the others gobble up whatever is given to them. Shortly after they finally get to meet and socialize with the elderly people who live in the establishment, everyone picks a person to care for while JP searches the room for Greta and approaches her. She doesn't say anything and only keeps staring at him. JP takes this as a hint and starts reading her a book. Suddenly, the old woman loses control of her emotions and tells JP that he will die here. He should have known better than to try reading her Twilight. When she doesn't show signs of stopping, Cynthia sedates her and takes her away from the rest. JP is left shocked and feels guilty, assuming that he was the cause of the breakdown. An entire day passes in the facility, but Chris still refuses to eat. The lack of nutrition causes him to turn more paranoid than he already is. He thinks the window on the back of the dining hall is one-sided, and someone is keeping an eye on them from the other side. The rest of the group doesn't believe him, so to prove himself, he tries to open the door. As a result, he is sedated and dragged away to the infirmary. Later that night, JP wakes up and goes to the toilet. He soon comes across an owl, which flies away on seeing him. Things get even more weird when suddenly he sees a naked old woman nearby staring at him. She yells, "Virgil will let you free," and proceeds to attack him. JP freezes in shock until the security arrives and takes the woman away. The following day, the youngsters are woken up early for work. The security officer, James, calls JP racist slurs, which causes a slight argument between the two. As they are taking care of an old man, JP is attacked once more. The poor boy falls down and is knocked out unconscious. He comes back to his senses later in the afternoon in the infirmary. To his surprise, Lily is also in the room right alongside him. She reveals that she has been with him all along and asks him to look harder. But then JP suddenly wakes up, realizing what he saw was only a dream. Meanwhile, Chris is still not returned since he was sedated the last time. The youngsters ask Cynthia about it, and she reveals that he was sent back to the detention center for not being obedient. After she leaves, Big Mac bluntly claims that she is lying. He found Chris's inhaler in the hallways an hour ago, which means he is still in the facility. It is clear that the workers are hiding something from them. Later that evening, Big Mac brings Greta to her friend Philip's room. He believes that spending time together will be a good bonding experience for two old people. However, as he is setting up the TV, something weird happens to Philip. His bones start cracking and he falls off the bed. The old man soon goes completely out of control and acts like he is being possessed. His body convulses, folds into an inverted position, and he eventually dies. Mac is traumatized by what he just saw, but later, the cause of the death is declared heart failure. In the next scene, Eric calls James and JP in the front yard and introduces them to his pet owl, Virgil. This reminds JP of the first night he was attacked, but he doesn't think much of it. Eric believes that JP can be a permanent employee like James and wants him to stay close. Although the youngster is not willing to be here permanently, he pretends to be interested in front of the others. Before leaving, Eric asks the two boys to hug because he knows that they are not on good terms. JP obliges, but he takes this chance and steals a bunch of keys from James. That night, he uses a key from the bunch to unlock the tracker on his feet. He then goes to Mac's room and finds him enjoying a self-care day with face masks and music. Mac refuses to come outside, so JP moves on to Camila's room. She is more than delighted when he takes off her tracker, but then goes to enjoy the night of freedom on her own. Eventually, the only friend that is willing to join JP is Micah. They steal alcohol and enjoy it inside the establishment's pool. It is obvious that JP is interested in Micah, and she too takes the hint. They flirt for about an hour before kissing and moving into her bedroom. Looks like that bundle also had the key to her pants. The following morning, JP wakes up in his room only to find an old lady beside him in the bed. He freaks out, but is soon told that she climbed on the bed randomly because of dementia. Later, JP meets with Mac and tells him about the events of last night, but halfway through the story, he discovers that he doesn't remember what happened when he got in bed. As he is trying to recall the incidents, he sees Greta playing with a fortune-telling origami. This reminds him of his sister, who used to frequently make the same thing for their cousins. JP asks the lady if someone gave it to her, but gets no answer in return. Suddenly, she holds his hands and starts shivering before the guards arrive and sedate her. Following this, JP and the rest of the group talk about the incident. During their conversation, Camila reveals that she doesn't remember anything from last night, as if she blacked out. They also discover a mark on her neck and theorize that she was sedated. Later that evening, JP, who is now beginning to feel that there is something fishy going on, decides to search the facility. He first goes to the infirmary where only the security guards are allowed to go. He approaches Greta, who is also present there, and sees a butterfly tattoo behind her ears. The tattoo is identical to the one JP saw on his sister on the night their house was raided. It is now clear to him that the old lady he's taking care of is none other than his sister. Butterfly tattoo equals time travel. However, before he can take an action, James finds him and knocks him out. The following day, the rest of the group is suspicious of JP's disappearance. They decide to snoop around Eric's office to see if they find something. Micah and Mac go inside, while Camila stays outside to keep an eye on James. After searching around for a while, Mac finds the blueprint of some sort of grinding machine. They are almost caught when James comes into the room, but he fails to see them hiding in the corner. Somewhere else, JP wakes up in a wheelchair wheelchair beside two people his age, but when they turn around to face him, he is left speechless. One half of their face is old and wrinkly, while the other is young. To his utter horror, JP finds out that the same thing has happened to his own face as well. He is slowly beginning to understand what is going on in the facility. In a stroke of good fortune, a chance to run presents itself not long afterwards. JP is left alone in the room, but to escape, he has to punch in a password at the door. The youngster remembers what Greta had told him a few days ago. Something like, "Virgil will set you free." So he types Virgil, and the door is unlocked. At the same time, Governor Finn and Eric are at an outlet of the chain restaurant Liberty Burgers. They co-own the entire chain and are delighted by the profit they are making recently. Amidst the conversation, Finn inquires if anyone has made a complaint about the burger patties in the past month. Eric confidently says that this is impossible because he has found the perfect alternative for ham: balls. Back at the old age home, JP enters a room which seems to be a production unit of some sort, but what he comes across shocks him to the core. There are several dead human bodies in Ziploc bags. It is then revealed that Eric used human meat and bones to create the patties of the burger because real meat is too expensive. They used the bodies of refugee immigrant youngsters to make commercial meat. The illegal immigrants are given different hormones to tenderize their muscles, and as a side effect, people turn old. This gave the business a perfect cover for what they're actually doing down here. This revelation freaks JP out, and he bumps into Micah while trying to run away. Unbeknownst to the poor boy, Micah was planted by Eric to keep an eye on everyone from the inside. She then tasers JP and takes him back inside. Elsewhere, Mac is in the infirmary thanks to an injury he suffered while working in the yard. There, he overhears James's call to Camila and finally discovers the truth about this establishment. Not wanting to end up with the same fate as the others, he decides to take immediate action. Mac steals a bunch of keys from nearby and enters the air vents to hide. He soon reaches on top of Camila's room through the vent and gives her a key to unlock her tracker. The duo then decides to go their separate ways to help JP from different sides. Following this, Camila goes to the dining hall and finds out that Chris was right about the one-way window. She cannot warn the others, however, as a guard knocks her out from behind. When she comes back to her senses, half her face has also aged drastically. JP is by her side, and he explains that they don't have much time. Although they are weak, they decide to plan a daring escape. That night, all the elderly people corner Cynthia, Micah, and James and proceed to attack them. JP tries to run outside, but a guard grabs his urine bag and yanks it forcefully. Ooh. Fortunately, Mac arrives at the spot from an overhead vent and suffocates the guard to his death. He and the rest of the old people then run outside, while JP, Camila, and Lily end up in the production room. There, they find Chris, who is still alive but locked in a cage. But before they can free him, Eric arrives at the spot. He is incensed and blames JP for ruining his business. He then begins punching JP, who is too weak to retaliate due to the artificial aging. After a brutal beatdown, the evil businessman puts JP on a platform that goes straight into a meat grinder. In the meantime, Lily notices that Chris is beginning to convulse and becomes unusually aggressive. The overdose of the tenderizing hormones are slowly making him turn into a senseless animal. But this gives Lily the perfect idea. She presses the button to open the cage's door, allowing the barbaric Chris to come out. He goes straight for Eric and snaps the shady businessman's neck. Sadly, Chris soon dies as his body slowly crumbles due to all the artificial hormones stuffed in him. As the movie comes to an end, it is reported that Finn has fled the country and the entire Liberty Burger chain has been stopped. JP's mother is let free, alongside all the other immigrant parents who finally get to see their kids. Out. Thank you for watching.